Today I'm going to be talking about the most dangerous addiction. It's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's lust. Now, when I say dangerous, I don't necessarily mean actual danger. Obviously, alcohol, drugs, they're gonna get you into more situations. What I mean by dangerous is the hardest to get rid of. Now, of course, I'm talking about from personal experience and also experience with people I know, fans and family. So I don't want to negate anyone's experience who's had issues with alcohol or drugs or some other form of addiction. But I personally feel like lust, from what I've seen amongst other people and what I've seen with myself, is the hardest to kick over. And when I say lust, a lot of people are thinking about, most notably the hub, things like that. But I'm not even necessarily talking about self-pleasure. I'm just talking about even the way you think, the way you look at other people, whether it's hooking up, whether it's relationships, whether it's is self-pleasure, what's on your Instagram feeds, everything. Lust is so rampant in our society, we can't really avoid it. And that's one of the things that makes it hard. With alcohol or drugs, you know that those things come with money. And so if you don't have enough resources, then you can't acquire those things. When it comes to lust, you can get tempted by scrolling through something on your phone, seeing someone in person. And just like with every addiction, the more and more often you engage in those activities, engage in those thought cycles, the more and more often you'll want to engage in those thought cycles. I saw a video that said it takes 3 months to properly reset your brain from porn addiction or just masturbation addiction in general. And I had a friend who told me that it might actually take 6 months, regardless of how much time it is. I think the reason why so many people, especially young men, I mean, it's women too, but I think young men are the most open about dealing with those struggles with lust. I feel like part of the reason why they deal with it the most is because, one, I think the society behind lust is framed towards sexualizing women, which therefore will entice straight men. Even if you go on these sites, the most of the time there's going to be only women, which I'm not complaining as a straight man, but I'm just saying that those sites, and this, even like anything, magazines, models, like posters, like they're all framed from the lens of trying to attract straight men. Even other women are attracted to women. That's like they idolize that. That's just the way our society is built. We glorify the female body. I feel like that's part of why men specifically are so trapped within this cycle. I think another aspect of it is this black pill culture. It instills guilt because, let's be honest, and I don't want to get too gross, but a lot of women are gooners. A lot of women, they participate in the same activities, lustful activities as men, but I think they are a lot less ashamed of it compared to men. And I don't know if this is because the black pill mentality, which kind of teaches men that you need to overcome your desires, whether it's bodily or whether it's mental, just anything. I feel like it forces you to be a lot more critical. Whereas I feel like women, one, they don't share or talk as openly about these lustful practices as men do. Or even if they do, they like try to hide it or try to present a certain image that's more ladylike. And then I think too, I think women might not feel that pressure to like overcome urges. And this expands way beyond lust. This can just go into this mentality in general, where I feel like men always have this kind of subconscious pressure of like, I need to overcome myself. And women have that too, but it's in a different way. I feel like this is where toxic masculinity comes from, where it's like the desire to always be like in control of everything or have everything put together. I feel like for women, it's more so about like the image of being like the perfect all-around woman, but not necessarily like, I feel like with men, it's more of like a tough thing. It's like a hardened thing. It's like, I can't let things affect me. I can't be driven by these urges, these temptations. I know I'm rambling right now, but I feel like lust is so normalized in our culture, and that's also why it makes it hard to kick, because sometimes in your mind you're like, is it really bad? And then also it's a issue which people don't really talk about, feeling lustful or issues with being lustful. I'm not even really here to give advice. I just want to talk about it. A lot of people have turned to God as a resource. A lot of people, I feel like for me personally, what motivates me to like not practice lustful practices or to stay away from lustful temptations or Instagram, or not be manipulative towards people or not be lustful in my way I perceive relationships, is to just, it's just the way I feel, the way I feel about myself, but also the energy I feel. I feel a different type of energy and control in my life when I resist those practices. But it's also hard because I feel like the most times when we are drawn to temptations, it's in times of anxiety and or disappointment or anger, And like, for example, I feel like for me, I get on these dating apps and I tend to download them most when I'm frustrated with something going on in life. I may come back from a party and it was disappointing. I'm like, fuck it, let's get on Tinder tonight. Let's swipe through. That's literally, especially last year, that was what I was doing like every weekend. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And like, nothing's wrong with that, but it's helpful to note when these practices emerge, it's often as a result of something happening in your life. So that's helpful. Like, notice those triggers. What makes you think like that? But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I think I didn't really talk about my own experience, but I've been debating making this video for a while because it is embarrassing to talk about these issues, and that's why it's also weird. And I think most people have these addictions because it's so taboo to even talk about the word lust. You hear it in a religious context a lot, but I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it outside of that, especially online. But I don't think, one, I'm not really talking about any personal experience, but I don't think it should be as taboo considering that all humans have desires, and our societies ran off of sex. So I feel like it's helpful to talk about because it obviously is affecting our brains. We just haven't studied it. And I'm not necessarily saying that, oh, you need to quit what you're doing now. That's up to you. Different people have different relationships with these different modes of like sex and stuff, and like different media and like Instagram and everything. It's all up to you, but just take some time to reflect. I think it's like some people don't often reflect on like, how is this affecting my life? So that's all I'm encouraging you to do. But thank you guys for listening. I'll see you.